Hello, this is R.Joshua Collins. I just wanted to let my friend here from La Palma Park share kind of what's been happening here recently regarding the police and the homeless. So go ahead and share.
Well, for over a week and a half, we have endured being woke up every single morning between 4 and 4:30 in the morning with all kinds of various reasons that they're coming. I helped a lady 2 days prior because the cops had come because she had a basket that was left in front of where she was sleeping. They stopped her first, and she had merely set her recycles and her ice chest in there while she folded up her linens. Well, the cops stopped, told her she had too much property, and got her for the shopping cart and said that that's the reason why she was getting arrested. She explained that that wasn't hers, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it wasn't, you know, and yet they arrested her on shopping cart charges because she had her recycles and that ice chest sitting in there. But prior to that, she had asked that her dogs be released and her property to me and another girl that's here in the park. And the officers refused. And she kept saying, please, you know, I don't have the money to get my dogs out and, you know, my property and all of that. She was begging him. And this cop had LeBaron had no compassion whatsoever. He gave some story that he could not release the dogs because they could be held liable if I was to lose the dogs and it ran across the street and got hit, which is utter crap. Because the following day, they arrested another girl, and they didn't take her property. They didn't take nothing of hers. They left it with one of her friends. But yet with Cynthia, they refused. Because she was wanting it to go to us. It cost her over. She took it was going to cost her like $1,500 alone to get her two dogs out because they sent them to the pound. We even called Anaheim PD and tried to, plead to the compassion of the police chief.
Yeah.
And he says, well, it's situational. And I says, well, what do you mean by situational? He couldn't tell me what he meant.
Yeah.
And I says, well, we need to take this lady's dogs because she can't afford it. She's homeless. There was no compassion whatsoever. It cost her, it didn't cost her the $1,500, thanks to Lou, but it cost her an arm and a leg. The week prior to that, they took her car. And I don't know what is going on with the police officers, but they are attacking the girlfriends because they assume that the boyfriends are out here selling drugs, and it's an assumption on their part totally, because I unfortunately am a target also because of that. And Cynthia also. I'm sure there's a few others out here, but for over a week and a half, they've been giving out bogus tickets for no reason. They make this crap up, okay? The other night, morning, I reached over to put my dog's leash on the second hoop of her harness, and LeBaron jumped out and says, you can't have your dog off the leash. And I said, my dog wasn't off the leash. Yes, your dog was. You're not allowed to have it off the leash. And I was trying to explain, and he goes, you had the dog off the leash. And I said, I did not. But I couldn't keep arguing with him. So then he goes, boy, you have a lot of excessive property. And I says, well, not all of it's mine. And he goes, well, what is yours? And I said, these two things. And he goes, boy, you got a lot of excessive property. I says, well, that's my ex's. That's my daughter and her boyfriend's. And I says, and I'm helping a friend out. And he goes, excessive property. He goes, you can go to jail for that. And I said, really? I didn't know that. And I says, I've been trying to work on downsizing, taking some stuff to storage, but you know, it's hard. And he goes, I'm going to ask you a yes or no question, plain and simple. Are you willing to go to the shelter? And I says, well, what's going to happen to me if I say no? He goes, I said it was a simple yes or no question. And I says, well, I feel kind of like I'm being, you know, forced. And I said, I've got responsibilities and things. I says, I've got a mental illness daughter. And I says, I can't leave her out on the streets. And he goes, she's an adult. You don't need to worry about her. And I'm going to ask you again, are you going to go in the shelter or you're not? And I says, well, I guess I better say yes. I says, but I said I'd go in. I didn't say I'd stay. I says, because I really do have a lot that I do. And I said, and I feel like I'm being forced. Like you're telling me I'm going to go to jail. And I'm going to get my dog impounded, and I'm going to get my property impounded. You're using intimidation.
Yeah.
And he goes, no. He goes, it was a yes or no question. I says, well, I guess I don't have a choice, but I don't have to stay. I says, because that shelter is a joke. And so anyway, long story short, he wrote me the ticket for the no leash for my dog. And then said that if he saw me here Thursday, that it probably wouldn't be good. Now, you take that, I took that as a threat. There's no other way to take it. But not last night, but the night before, I was sleeping with a group of girls, and there was 4 of us when we went to bed, okay? When we woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning by same officers, I was woke up told to go to the curb with the rest of the ones that were lined up. Some of them were cuffed already. Others of us were just getting woken up. They were automatically going through your belongings. Didn't ask you nothing. They just started searching everything. Okay, and then they discovered that there was 2 girls that were still sleeping in the tent. Had them come out. Well, one of the girls, before they came out, was sitting over there. Well, she was asleep up against the wall. She don't drink. I know this because I know her well. And somebody had left a beer can. They nailed her and gave her a ticket for for drinking. Then he starts telling her she's a meth head. How's your pipe doing today? And, you know, making wisecracks. You know, and they're under the impression that all of us out here, I mean, we're all wrapped up in one. We're all meth heads, crazy, or alcoholics. And there's no telling them differently. Every time I encounter LeBaron, it's like, are you high? And I said, LeBaron, I've told you, I don't do that kind of stuff. I've got better things to do with my money. I says, you know, and I've got high blood pressure. And I says, my heart would explode probably. I says, or my brain. I take 4 meds just alone for high blood pressure. Plus, I've got too much to do to worry about that. Oh no, I know you take drugs. I says, well, you're wrong, because I've done law for 35 years, and what you guys are doing is illegal. You're intimidating, you're threatening, you know. I says, I'm very fearful of you guys. I says, you know, I'm stressed to no end. I said, and my blood pressure's up. But when I'm sitting on the curb, and they're taking forever to search everybody's stuff and, you know, jab them. Whoever they were, if something was by them, they were getting a ticket for it or arrested. There was a guy, the only reason he didn't get arrested, and he claims it wasn't his meth pipe. I don't know whether or not it was or wasn't, because I'm not that familiar with him. But he had MRSA, and that's the only reason that he got off. But they did give him a ticket to appear. Okay, it might have been in the area like the beer can. Because I woke up and I'm looking at these faces that were around us. And I can honestly tell you, there had to be 10 or 12 of those faces that I didn't even know. from this park.
Mm-hmm.
And how they ended up around us when there was 4 of us. So, I mean, they could have partied. I was asleep, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, I kind of got the impression they were trying to wrap us all in on everything that they found in the area.
Sure.
They were going to arrest us one way or another. And I mean, I was really sweating it because I have the dog.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's very stressful.
She's a service dog, which LeBaron said is not a fact because it wasn't done by the dog pound. It was done by a licensed PhD doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not saying she's a service dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I disagree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Dog pound, PhD, you know, I know it is. She's a licensed therapy dog.
Mm-hmm.
And whether he agrees that she is or isn't is his problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, on that situation where we were all lined up,
Mm-hmm.
there was only, after all that we all went through, there was only one person on that particular street that got arrested. Okay, there was a girl that was sitting directly next to me. She knew she was on the run.
Mm-hmm.
She gave a fake name.
Yeah.
Well, they came back after taking her fingerprints and said it would be to your best. Well, LeBaron said it'd be in your best interest
Mm-hmm.
that if you gave us a fake name, that you tell us who you really are. So she did.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't get arrested.
Mm.
They let her go.
Mm.
But a kid that was dead asleep, I mean, they had arrested him 2 times previously.
Mm-hmm.
They arrested him again for a 3rd time,
Wow.
but not the girl that was on the run.
Wow.
They're picking and choosing
Oh, sure.
who they're
That's
going to
been
take in.
That's been for years. I've been on
But
the streets
see-
for years, living with the homeless too. When I got here in 2013, and that's when I got involved in activism. But in this city, but I was doing it before in Vegas, so I know firsthand. Yeah, and I've filmed the selective enforcement and.
Well, I know LeBaron and his partner are coming after me because he felt I needed to be quiet and stay out of Cynthia's business.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not one to stay quiet
Yeah.
when they're doing illegal things.
Mm-hmm.
I called Lou right away.
Yeah.
He came down. But me and Lou, I mean, Lou doesn't get the same backlash because I have to live out here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he gets told to get back and you're impeding the investigation and all of that. They don't like the fact that I tape them when they're arresting somebody
Yeah.
and watch them while they're taking people's property.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't hide that from them.
Yeah. Oh,
So
good.
I'm starting to get the backlash of it.
Well, we gotta try to get you some more help somehow.
But
Yeah.
the whole thing is that I don't know what to do about this Thursday thing because I think come Thursday, tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen to me. So I've been trying to look
Mm-hmm.
for other streets or whatever to go on
Yeah.
because, I mean, I know that if I'm in this area and, I mean, I'm too afraid to be around. I mean, I don't trust him. I know that he'll come after me because the guy is cold and heartless. But, I mean, one person on our street got arrested. The only reason that I got let loose, they didn't go through my stuff, is because I told him I'm an old lady. I got to go to the bathroom. He woke me up at 4. I says, I really need to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, if I have an accident in my pants in front of everybody, that's not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So he told the officer, I'm going to let her go. And so he told me, go get your purse and your dog and go. Leave your property here. He says, but what is it that exactly that's yours? And so I pointed it all out. And he told code enforcement not to touch it. So, but he told everybody really loud, she's my buddy, so I'm letting her go. And I go, I'm not your buddy. Believe me, I'm not your buddy. Because I'm not. But, I mean, there's just every single day since Sunday, they're here between 4 to 5, that space. And I mean, they hit every single street, UEI, the Mercy House over here, everything. And I mean, this is a small crowd of what's left. I mean, this park used to be packed.
Yeah.
I mean, not with just homeless, but this park had a lot of activity.
Yeah.
Now we're down to very, very few here. But the park ranger came and told me as of October 15th that because they're doing us a favor, because they like the homeless, which is crap. But when he pulled up, I'm thinking, what do you got to say, you know? But he's given us the courtesy to let us know October 15th there'll be a decision made on a 200-bed emergency shelter. And come that day on, anyone who does not go to that shelter will be arrested. Because they're coming down on us. And I said, stronger than they already are? I says, how much more can we take?
Yeah.
We've got such a lack of sleep, I know I do. And I got a bum knee, and you know, they don't take all that into consideration, but park ranger's doing us such a favor by telling us. But see, I'm informed by Lou. I know what's really going on and what isn't. And I mean, they packaged up everybody's belongings. Well, no, two people. One family and this guy and this girl. And it turns out the shelter didn't have any openings. Those cops knew it. And yet they had them gather all their stuff up. They're still sitting out here. And I told him, I says, there's no openings.
Yeah.
Not unless they're gonna kick people out. I says, there's no openings.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot going on out here right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of crap that they tell people, a lot of intimidation, a lot of threats. I mean, you'll do this or else, you know. I mean, I was telling Lou, I'm so stressed out, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have high blood pressure. I felt like I had a stroke yesterday. The whole scenario of being on the curb and just intimidation and the fear of whether or not I'm going to find another street to go to.
Oh, it's
because
very
I've not been to jail.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
And I mean, I worry about her as much as she worries about me.
It's very stressful.
And I mean, I'm a mess, but
yeah. Well, thanks for sharing. I'm gonna wrap the video up because I don't want it to cut off. But,
right.
But thank you so much.
There is so much more, though. I mean, people need to see what's going on at La Palma.
Yeah.
Because these cops are crooked.
Yeah.
They're not doing us any favors, believe me.
Oh, I hear you.
They will. They're going to give us 50 tickets, so we all have to go to court.
Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know I got to talk to her.
Well, anyways, please share the video. Do join Homeless Advocates for Christ on Facebook, and pray for the homeless. Pray for the police to be doing the right thing. That's what you just heard it from the mouth of an older homeless woman, how she's been treated out here. So thanks so much for your prayers and support, and may God bless you as you seek for His kingdom always. Bye-bye.